Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About It. This is Susan Johnson, and my co-host Dennis O'Brien is running for office for the Willimantic Service District, so he can't be on the show today until after the election. But anyway, I know he's out there doing all kinds of great things for Windham, and I have a wonderful guest for you this evening, someone who is doing amazing work for our town. We have our superintendent of schools for Windham Public Schools, Tracy Youngberg. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, and hi, Dennis.
Yes, indeed. Tracy, you have just done so many great things, and our school systems are just generating all kinds of great programs for our students. But the first thing I want to talk about is the progress that we're having on the Windham Public Schools Renovate is New project.
So I don't know if you've had a chance to come by the high school lately. We actually just took the Board of Education members on a tour this past Saturday. It was our board retreat, so we took them on a tour, and they got to see the amazing progress. We're a little over a year away from completing the project, but it actually looks like a school now. And you can see in certain parts of the building, places where you can still see the old and the new at the same time. It is an amazing renovation. We have almost all of the classrooms handed back over. They're still working on one section with the science labs and a number of classrooms in that area, but majority of our classrooms have been handed over to the high school, so we're able to use them. Still some temporary classrooms. They still have the auxiliary gym to complete, but the gymnasium is done. It's absolutely gorgeous. The cafeteria is done. The kitchen that the students use for the culinary program is complete, and they're actually starting to invite people in for special meals that they're creating because it's set up like a restaurant, so they can cook in the kitchen and then serve guests. It's really amazing. The auditorium has just been turned back over to us. Brand new space, gorgeous seating, technology, new stage. Everything is just, it's really gives you a sense of that rejuvenate. It's amazing to walk through and see what the tax dollars can do for the kids of Windham Public Schools.
Oh, thank you so much for that. We're so excited because Senator Flexer and I were able to obtain a 95% reimbursement for the entire, school Renovate is New. And we are not the kind of town that just renovates. This hasn't been done since 1969 when the school first opened. So, we do wait a long time before we get to these things, and that was certainly well needed and certainly a good time for it. We have the need for updating for our computer systems and our HVAC systems, given the fact that we've had these problems with COVID and just any type of situation where you might have things spread through the HVAC system. This is something that we're thrilled that we're able to get these things done.
I know that the town is very appreciative of the work that you and Senator Flexer have done on the reimbursement rate. It really does show your commitment to Windham Public Schools. Totally agree. Updates on technology, updates on HVAC, updates in general on just spaces for instruction that are more, modern day and safety and security compliant. So it is just an exciting project all around. We're very happy to be sort of a part of it. It's sometimes challenging living in the renovation as it's going on, so I have to just give a shout out to the Windham High School staff and students for their flexibility and their ability to sort of roll with the punches as things change. We also are working collaboratively with the construction team, and it's just really been nice to watch. And I honestly and truly, I know you can't really measure this, but I feel like the students feel differently about being in the space than they did about the old high school. Like, you can tell that they understand that the town has invested in them, and that's a really important piece in that whole psychology game, getting them to understand we believe in you, they've invested in you, now get out there and do the best you can. So
you raised that, and that's really, really interesting. When Governor Lamont was back at the school last spring, I think that the students really appreciated the visit, but also I could sense a sense of optimism about the changes that were going on in school, about the ideas that they had for some of the renovations, that they were included in the discussion. All that was something that I think they really, really enjoyed, and I enjoyed seeing it very much.
Yeah, that was pretty powerful to listen to the students. All of our grade levels had representation, and that was really exciting to have them share with the governor.
Yeah. How often does a student get to do that, or even a representative?
Right. And then they all took selfies with him afterwards,
Yes.
which we loved.
It
So
was absolutely
it's great.
fabulous.
Yeah.
So, moving on to the great accomplishments for district wide. I mean, the district has just been amazing, and one of the things I try to do as a member of the education committee at the Capitol, and certainly Senator Flexer also works on these issues to make sure, first of all, that we finally are getting the education cost sharing grant money that we're supposed to get for all the schools all over the state. So I think we'll be fully funded by 2025. And this is a very, very important thing to all of us to make sure that everybody's on an equal footing in terms of the education cost sharing grant, which was something that was required in two cases, one in the 70s called Horton versus Meskel, and then another one in the 80s talking about Horton versus Meskel. Both cases said, hey, state, you got to do the right thing. The Constitution says so. And then it kind of didn't get anywhere until the Connecticut Coalition for Justice and Education funding litigation occurred, and the legislature then took up the disparities that were reported through the depositions in that litigation, and we were able to make a requirement that the state own up to the requirements constitutionally and in case law that we get our formula that is providing the coverage for every single district. So I'm very pleased about that, and I think maybe some of that has helped with your district-wide accomplishments.
Absolutely, and we're always looking to make sure that every penny that the district is supposed to receive comes our way. We do have some pretty significant challenges in Windham, and we're working hard to try to, sort of get past some of the things that we know are challenges here, but we appreciate all the work that's being done on the legislative side to support us. And absolutely, in terms of the investment, we have been able to do a number of things in terms of staffing, covering staffing or adding staffing, or making sure that we have certain specialists available to address some of our students' needs. So we absolutely positively are making every penny count.
I know you are. And so let's talk a little bit about the Performance Index, the DPI, District Performance Index, that increased in both English language arts and math, which those are crucial, right? I mean, that's a big deal.
Absolutely. So the District Performance Index is the measurement that the state provides for us in sort of a report card setup to let us know how each of our schools is doing and how the district is doing as a whole. And last year we saw growth in both English language arts and math. One of the things we're still working on, and we plan to take care of it this year, is making sure that our science achievement matches our ELA and math growth, because it's sort of not just language arts and it's not just math. It's much bigger than that. So we are proud about our increase in ELA and math, and now really focused on science for this year.
We love that you're focused on science, and let's just talk about the types of science that you are providing to the students.
So the state offers an assessment in grades 5, 8, and 11 that the assessments are aligned to the next generation science standards, which is a little different than the way you and I learned science, where we opened a book and maybe we had an experiment every once in a while when we were in school, but most of it was textbook reading. The next generation science standards are much more complex, and they expect students to think much more deeply and critically about the science. So we're trying to make sure that our students are having those experiences as early on as possible. So right now we're in the process of checking our curriculum, providing our teachers additional professional development, and really having some school-wide focus on science at all different levels. We want science to be exciting, engaging. We want students to walk away thinking that they're scientists. That's the ultimate goal is you can think like a scientist. So.
That is a great thing, and I have always enjoyed biological science. But then there's engineering. There's how things work kind of science. So for me, I got an associate's degree in biology and science, and that was one of the things that I kind of grew up with in terms as a little kid. My aunt was a nurse, and she gave me all her nursing books, so I just kind of grew up with those concepts, and of course they had to be updated when I got to college and through high school and college. So anyway, that was something that I really enjoyed very much. So we're looking at the whole range, right? The engineering, the
Sure.
types of science, that biological science, and,
Physical science,
physical science.
life science. Yeah, like you mentioned, biological or life science. There's earth science. I mean, there's a variety
Yes,
of.
yeah.
Absolutely, we're looking across the board at all those things.
And those are just important. Of course, the earth science is something that I'm sure that a lot of the students are interested in because of the global issues that we're faced with.
Yeah, which actually takes me back to the comment you made about the HVAC systems in our schools, because one of the things we were faced with in September was really excessive heat in our
yes.
buildings because we're not climate controlled. The high school is almost all climate controlled. They're in the process of renovating. And Barrow STEM Academy is climate controlled, but none of our other buildings are fully climate controlled. They might have certain rooms that are air conditioned, but we actually had to dismiss early because of that. So it's a very real thing that impacts our operations. So, it's all connected.
It certainly is all connected, and the more people understand about, I always refer to science as a way of understanding about how things work, whether it's how the Earth works, how our interaction with, as a planet and the universe, or as humans interacting just with our own biology and understanding that and the environment that we're living in. These are all the kinds of things that really help us understand where we are and what we need to do.
Absolutely. The critical thinking piece is really important.
It certainly is, yes. And just moving on to, you have a district parent advisory group. Tell us a little bit about that and how lucky we are to have parents who are active and interacting with the school system.
We're actually very lucky about that. We started the district parent advisory group last year. And we almost have representation from every school in the district. We're working on that. It's our focus this year, as well as making sure we get more Spanish-speaking families involved in the work. But this group is so committed that they were coming once a month to share feedback with me and members of my team, and to help us solve problems and figure out where we wanted to make changes or move our energy. And one of the things that they did that we're really proud of is they helped to plan the upcoming parent community university that we're bringing back. It had disappeared.
Oh, that was great. I did go to some of those events, and I really enjoyed them and enjoyed talking to the parents and the teachers, and I love the parent university. That was great.
So, I'm going to invite you again Saturday, October 21st.
All right.
It's at the Senior Center in town, and our parent advisory group actually helped to plan the sessions, and I believe some of them are even presenting sessions. So, really exciting work, and we're really proud of that group and hope it will expand this year.
Well, that is excellent. And that's one of the things that I was very proud of several years ago when we were talking about how can schools connect better with your constituents and students and parents. And we have the liaisons for each school going to visit with parents. We have that great capacity for that, and I think at that point in time we might have been the only one. And I suggested that would be something that would be a good thing to do, and some other districts actually followed suit. But tell us how that's working.
Sure. So that the family liaisons are members of our Family and Community Engagement Office. Robinson Camacho is the director of that department, and that department does amazing work. As you mentioned, the family liaisons are the connection between the community and the schools, and they go back and forth between the school and the home to try to support families and students. One of their big initiatives this year is working with us on the reducing our chronic absenteeism, improving our attendance. We can't get to any of our academic or social emotional goals if the students aren't in school. So the family liaisons are working on that, amongst other things. They are really, the go-between. They are all bilingual, so they can speak to the majority of our families. And they are all very much committed to Wyndham Public Schools. So we really appreciate that department and all of their work.
That's great. That is a great thing. And I just want to add, we also have the Bilingual Education Bill of Rights that we passed this last session at the legislative level and was signed into law by the governor. So that is another thing that is, I think, making sure that we understand that, having more than one language is actually a help for people's brain, and also fits in nice with the fact that we are moving into an international, or we've already moved into an international national economy. So if you have more than one language, your aptitude and chance for getting employment once you finish high school or your post-secondary education is going to be increased.
Absolutely. So excuse me, Wyndham has the dual language program, Compañeros. Actually, we're celebrating this year in the spring the 30th anniversary of that program. So that's amazing all by itself. We also have, that's our two-way dual language program. We also have a one-way dual language program currently called Dos Rios. And both of those programs, and just in general, our support of dual language across the district feeds into our goals of increasing the seal of biliteracy that our graduates would get at commencement, recognizing that they're literate in both languages, which to me is an amazing thing. And I wish someone had pushed me to stick with the language and actually be able to communicate in more than one language. And I agree. If you read any of the research about your brain and what happens if you speak more than one language, they are clearly using more parts of the brain than anyone is unilingual. So I really do wish that I had been pushed and that I had the ability to offer my children what our kids in Wyndham have the ability to accomplish in our dual language programs.
Well, I'm with you. I wish I'd been pushed as well. Yeah. And of course, the other thing that I think is so important that we've known in science for generation after generation after generation is that the best time to teach two languages is when you're going first grade, kindergarten. Those are the best times because the children are learning languages in those areas much more quickly than if you try and start them off in a second language when they're entering high school. So, and that's the way it was when I was back in the day when I was in high school. It was all about, now you can take a language.
Sure.
Whereas I think we've progressed a little bit since then, but it's really something that sometimes people get stuck in certain thoughts, and
sure.
You need to be able to move forward when the science says, "Hey, this really works."
Absolutely,
you got to go for it.
There's so many benefits in terms of your ability to communicate, career-wise, the things that you have opportunities if you are bilingual. So it really is something that Wyndham Public Schools is proud of.
I remember I took Latin, in high school, and it was like, this is a sentence structure. It really made the sentence structure in English much more apparent. When you took another language, because then they go through all the details of how the structures work and all that sort of thing. And so I thought, this is something that I think helps with English as well.
Absolutely. Makes you think critically about our language, right?
Yeah, instead of just something you picked up when you were a baby and you move through it. Yeah, so that is really very, very important. And I've been focused on having a system in statewide, really, when I first started at the Capitol, working on creating a way to make sure that people with more than one language, or people that come into our country with a different language, actually get the kind of analysis and support that they need to be able to do English and the language that they also speak. So these are things that really are quite helpful for everybody. And, helpful with testing, which is something they have seemed to have figured out in Europe. And I think we're still doing monolingual tests here in this country.
It is one of the things that my team and I struggle with, because we have noticed that our students in the dual language program outperform our unilingual students, but not right away. It takes them a few years because they're acquiring more than one language, or, at least mastering more than one language. And, we say all the time that it really is only looking at one part of who we are as a district. So you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've talked to UConn about it as well. So I've been working. I've talked to people in Europe as well to see what they do, and I found, at least in Germany when I was there a few years back, that they start off with, of course, German in the nursery and kindergarten, and then they go into Latin.
Interesting.
And then
already
they go
from
in,
med school.
or law school.
Or law school, one or the other, right?
And then they go into usually English.
Okay.
And then they do a surrounding country language in that. And so when we talked to the mayor of Bad Solden, his English was great, and he understood so many things and knew so much about the culture here, but also was wondering, how we were doing and what we were doing. So that was an interesting thing. And I've also talked to a colleague of ours at the Capitol who's from France, and his mother was teaching multiple languages in French over in France.
Yeah.
So that, it's just interesting to see how other places handle this. Now, I understand, like, historically, we're in a situation where we had lots and lots of immigration. In order to have everybody be part of one country, we needed to make sure they knew English, and you have to be able to do the English. But and I think that's where we got so fixated on making sure we knew English. But I think that we also need to understand that now we're international.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. Yeah, absolutely.
So, yes. So tell us a little bit more about the equity-minded professional development opportunities for the Human Rights Project.
Sure. So right now we have a group of district staff members from a variety of positions who are taking part in Courageous Conversations. It's an equity-minded training about race and the inequities that exist because of race. And that group, after they finish the training, we just had a session on October 6th, actually, will develop or help to develop the district's equity plan. And continue the work across the district in terms of equity. This past summer, a few of our teachers from the high school, middle school, and Barrows went to the Human Rights Project, which is sponsored by UConn, to learn about ways that we can incorporate lessons and an understanding about human rights in our curriculum. So we're trying to live our sixth priority, which is diversity as a strength, and sort of make sure that we have everything we need to know about making sure that we live diversity as a strength in everything we do.
You know, that is just, it's kind of like what we were just talking about with respect to language, because the more that you understand all the aspects around you, and the more you're going to understand what's coming up and how to analyze a situation and understand your government, understand science, and you know what you want to do as a person and how you want to function in this economy. So it's really, really important to have that understanding. And you've done a great job with the budget. Tell us a little bit about how you're analyzing the budget and doing that sort of thing. So
okay, so we are watching the ESSER funds sort of sunset. This is our last year with the ESSER funds, which is that extra surge of money. Build Back Better. We have tried to be really strategic about investing that money in things that the community will be able to enjoy for many years to come. For example, the Wyndham High School artificial turf was funded through the ESSER funds. We are trying to figure out how to make that jump from having this extra support in our budget to going back to living under maybe more lean times, so to speak. So we're in the process of making sure that decisions we make moving forward are not going to negatively impact the district. At the same time, as a result of COVID, we have a lot more need in the district in terms of some of our mental health needs of our students, some academic needs, still trying to catch up or help them move forward. So we're trying to balance student needs with budgetary needs and the fact that some of this extra money that has really helped us, like another example of an investment we made using the ESSER funds, it's a little less tangible, was that we offered an expanded summer school for the last 3 years. We offered K-8 summer school that was project-based with all sorts of field trips and experiential things the kids could take part in to sort of bring that curriculum to life and help them master skills at their grade level. But none of that had originally been budgeted because it just was it's about a little more than $1 million undertaking to have as large of a summer school as we offered. So we're trying to figure out when that ESSER money disappears, where are we and what can we still offer our kiddos to make sure that they get what they need and the community is feeling supported as well. So
that's a great point, and I think that's something that have you talked to other school districts that have similar ideas?
We have. We talk the regional superintendents talk a great deal about what we might be able to do and how do we move forward. Wyndham was very lucky to receive the funds that it received, so we have really tried, like I said, to be as strategic as possible. The Board of Education and the Board of Finance now have a really nice relationship in terms of our finances and our budgetary needs. So I hope that relationship continues because students win when people can have conversations about what really needs to happen in schools to help them move forward. So I feel good about our budget in that we have these strong relationships and everyone seems to be on the same page with being student-centered and understanding that our kids deserve whatever it is that they need to make, their school day and their education, come alive.
Well, that's stronger together, working together, and that's one of the things that I've been thrilled about for the last few years is that everybody in town seems to be working together, whether it's the education board with the Board of Finance or the council with the Board of Finance. Everybody's working, everybody's sharing information and getting the information there and understanding exactly what we need to do to work together to get it done. And that is one of the things that really, I think is very, very important. And speaking of that aspect, I mean, one of the things that I've been working on at the Capitol and we've tried to change a lot has to do with mental health and student mental health. And of course, post-COVID, we're still dealing with the after effects because we've all lost family relationships for a period of time. We've lost a lot of things that we wouldn't have lost if it hadn't been for COVID, and that's had an impact on our students and our educational system and their behavioral health needs.
Absolutely, and we've seen it in the schools. We see some pretty significant needs, mental health, behavioral needs. But lucky for us, we have a fairly strong group of staff members, mental health specialists. Our social workers do amazing work, and we've been working with interns from Eastern and Yukon in our buildings to help support social skills groups and responding to what our students need. But you're absolutely correct in that the COVID definitely set us back a few more years than just, the actual pandemic.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, we're going to go for a break right now, but we're going to be right back with our very special guest today, Tracy Youngberg. She is the superintendent of schools for Windham Public Schools. And we're going to be back talking about all the things that have been going on there and all the great improvements that have been going on in the Windham Public School system. So we will be right back after these messages. Welcome back, everyone. This is Susan Johnson. I'm here with our very special guest this evening, Tracy Youngberg, the superintendent of Windham Public Schools. And there have been so many great things that have been happening. I can't help but mention the Barrows Academy and the recognition that Barrows got for being a great magnet school here in town, run by our Windham Board of Education, and how they ranked very, very highly nationally. And you can tell me exactly how well they ranked.
So, well, I don't actually know the exact numbers. Okay. They are on,
it was Business Week, right?
Nope, it's the, I'm blanking on, that was not last year's recognition. That was the year before.
Oh.
So I'll have to get you the name. Exactly. This past year, they earned the International Technology and Engineering Educators Association Excellence in STEM Education Award. So that's a mouthful, but we're really proud of the students and staff at Barrows.
You should be. And that's a wonderful, wonderful school, and it does great work. And I just want to say it starts kindergarten through 8th grade?
That's correct. Kindergarten through 8th grade, and they have an integrated curriculum. STEM is obviously their focus of science, technology, engineering, and math. And they're able to do a lot of really exciting things at Barrows because they have the integrated curriculum. And we're really proud of the work they're doing over there. Absolutely. It's a great place to be. Beautiful facility, focused on academics, and K to 8.
Mm-hmm. And of course, that's something that we need nationwide for jobs, and we need to make sure that the STEM education is provided to our students because, we're looking at expansion of these types of jobs through manufacturing, through all kinds of science and technology types of jobs, and it's going to get more and more and more necessary to have people educated in these areas that these things weren't going on when I was in high school. I just have to say. I didn't have science. You had science, but not technology. I mean, we didn't even have a cell phone then.
Sure. That's true.
Yes.
So Windham High School has actually identified 3 pathways, and one of them is the business engineering and technology pathway, which encompasses our manufacturing program and all coursework associated with that field that you're talking about. And we're really proud of the offerings that Windham High School now has. In fact, we're going to be pushing out a State of the Schools document soon to the community, and one of the pages in that document lists all of the coursework in our 3 pathways, because in addition to business, engineering, and technology, we also have a health sciences pathway preparing those kids that want to get into the health field. And we have a human services, law, and public safety pathway. And so there's coursework available to our students in all three pathways in preparation for whatever they choose to do, college, career, and life. Like success in college, career, and life is what we're talking about. I actually really believe firmly from a personal standpoint that it's about teaching marketable skills, whether those skills be the social emotional skills of getting along with other humans or whether they be the academic skills needed to accomplish a job. It's marketable skills. You get them what they need and then let them make their dreams come true. Let them choose their whatever it is that they hope to accomplish after high school.
You know, one of the things you just mentioned that, triggered another idea, and one thing that happens in schools, and we obviously have a great school for sports, and one of the things that happens with sports is you learn how to be a team player, and that's something that even if you don't go on to college playing sports or you don't become professional football, basketball, baseball player, you're actually going to understand how to work together with people as a team, and that team effort is really so important when you get out in the world of employment. Tell us a little bit about the great stuff that's going on with sports at Windham High.
So again, Windham High School has a long history of athletic excellence, and we continue to do that. Last year was another stellar year.
Congratulations, everyone.
That's right. We had students. We had 8 student athletes who earned all-state honors last year, 33 who earned first-team all-conference honors. We had some coaches of the year. We just had another really amazing athletic year. Another thing I want to mention, because we're incredibly proud of our athletic programs, and we think it really is one of those things that makes kids want to come to school, and at the same time teaches those life skills that you were just talking about how to get along, the art of compromise, understanding that you're one piece in a larger puzzle. All really amazing lessons that I myself even learned. I know if you're listening, I know you know this.
Well, we want to actually praise you for your great work as someone who was exemplary softball player.
Oh, thank
well,
you.
Thank you.
It was a long time ago, but I appreciate it. I do think it taught me lessons.
I think it's so important. I think it's important for both males and females to get in those teams and learn how to play the game, whatever it is you want to play, and just get that team spirit together because it really works well later on in life.
Absolutely. And along those same lines, another thing that we're trying to really improve upon at Windham High School is our music department, because the same way team sports teaches you lessons, so does in many cases an orchestra or a band or some ensemble. It's the same kind of idea. So we're trying to also make sure that our music department has what it needs to teach our kids the same kinds of lessons.
So important. I think also if you're working together in theater, that's another.
Well, and it's
I did,
so funny that you asked that or that you mentioned that, because when we took the tour on Saturday, October 6th with the Board of Education members, one of them asked us, is there a theater program? And there isn't a formal theater program, but now that we have this beautiful stage and auditorium, it's like, this must be the next step. We have to consider what can we offer now in this new space, because there really is a wonderful opportunity. You've got to come and see the high school.
I definitely will. And I just want to mention also that Representative Curry, who is the chairman of the Education Committee that I sit on, has offered to come and come out and do a tour. I told him how receptive you were and how receptive the Board of Ed is to having us do that tour. So all we're going to do is set up that date so the tour can begin.
We've actually picked the date and a backup date in case the first one we picked doesn't work. December 13th is the first date.
Okay.
You're going to be getting an email about it as well.
Very good.
And then December 8th is our backup, is our second choice. But the 13th of December, we hope to have him in. And we are planning to take him to Windham High School, for one thing.
Great. Oh, yes.
We also are going to show him the Windham Early Childhood Center, which is on the Windham High School campus. And in the summer of 2024, or potentially a little sooner, maybe, I've at least asked, is it possible? They are relocating to their new space on the high school campus, and the entire program will be in this new beautiful space. Again, with an emphasis on it's very much about the students. So the space, again, we'll take you for a tour, really speaks to the investment in the students of Windham. And of course, that's where it all starts in early childhood, right? Really laying the foundation for what they need to be successful in elementary school, middle school, and high school. So we're really excited about the early childhood program having its own home soon as well.
I'm very excited about that because we all know that the more interaction the little ones get, the better the brain development, the better the language skills, all those kinds of things. Socialization, little ones get socialized more easily when they're in groups as little ones, going to the preschool and then, the kindergarten. So these are all things that little ones really can gain a lot from attending these areas, and it's just such an important thing that they have
Absolutely.
a good spot and be in a place they really like. That's
Absolutely
huge. Very, very
safe,
good.
secure, and beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. So so that I didn't want to talk about school without mentioning sports because it is a very, very important aspect, and I know that the town also does great work with Little League and midget football. I mean, we're very focused on sports, and we have wonderful parents who volunteer
Yes.
on Little League and midget football, and Wyndham Youth Organization is another area where we have students who are playing sports through the year, and it's just and then to have that actually those types of activities complement what we're doing in the school system is just it's a great way to just get everybody together, and they have their friends that can play with them in both the Little League or the midget football, and also at the high school or in the junior high too. You have some sports.
Yes, we have the middle school, Barrows and Wyndham Middle School both have a sports program that we're excited about and proud of. I couldn't agree more on the athletics being sort of a way to bring the community together. I've actually been to several games where you watch it happen. It's kind of exciting to be in the stands or off to the side watching how excited people are about our students and our teams. It is a way to bring everyone together, which is one of the reasons why when I got the feedback about using the ESSER funds, the artificial turf field to me made perfect sense. Not only is it a community builder, it also opens up potential opportunities for our students to get scholarships for their athletic work, right? So it's being able to play on a field that is state of the art is a different experience than not. So I completely agree on the athletic side. Another place where I really saw some exciting things happen in terms of parent engagement and community engagement was last March. The district put on its first district arts expo, where we showcased our students' talents in music and our students' talents in art. And the amount of parents and community members that came out to celebrate our kids around the District Arts Expo was really touching. We'll have another one this coming spring. I'm really excited about that. But again, it's all about like bringing the community together to understand it's really about these kids. It's all about these kids.
That's right. That is such a great thing. And just moving on to some other great things that happen at the school, and that is I've had students approach me when they finished Wyndham High and say, "Hey, Rep. Johnson, you know what? I was able to get a year's worth of credits while I was going to school at Wyndham High School." And I just wanted to talk about the college program where you can get college credit while you attend to Wyndham High.
Absolutely. We have the early college offerings as well as the AP offerings. So we have partnerships with UConn and Eastern and a partnership with QVCC. There are many opportunities for our students to earn college credit before they leave high school. And it is a money saver and a time saver, depending on what they're planning on doing. So
Yes.
there's absolutely a large list of offerings for our students.
The AP is...
Oh, I'm sorry, advanced placement.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Those are the courses. I forget sometimes that we speak in everything in education is an acronym for something.
Everything else that we do in government is always an acronym.
Yeah, so and only the people in it actually know what they mean. So advanced placement would be an opportunity for students to have a college course while they're in high school, and the curriculum actually comes directly from the college. It's an advanced placement. So in high school, they're taking the next level of work So yes, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood
Sure.
the great things that were going on, and just to be able to go and do advanced placement in high school is a great chance
Yep.
for students to take care of some of the costs. And I have to also remind everybody that we do have free community college now. So this is something that, if you get some of the credits done at the high school, you can go right over to the community college and also get free community college there. So it really will make it so more students can go to junior and senior years in college and just have to pay for those as
Right.
opposed to having to pay for all 4 years, which really can put a big dent in someone's budget.
That's
over
correct
the
with the
years.
tuition.
Yes.
That I have a son in pharmacy school, so I know the tuition is no joke. It's a lot of money right now. So if
Yeah.
you can save that and get it taken care of locally or in high school, by all means.
Yeah, get as many credits as you can while you're in high school, or get as many credits as you can in community college, and then you can just move on and cut in half the
Yep.
cost of college by doing that. And I just ran into somebody who said that they'd taken loans to the tune of about 30 grand about 15, 20 years ago, and but the interest rate was brought their cost up to 90 grand.
Wow.
So I said, that's really bad. And the system for student loan financing really must change. Some of that's federal, and it must change federally. And I also want to mention, too, that while we're thinking about the student loans and a lot of the rhetoric we've heard, one of the things to keep in mind is that the student loan is the only loan that can't be discharged in bankruptcy. It's the only loan. You can take any other kind of loan, but if you take a student loan out, you can't discharge it in bankruptcy. And that is kind of like putting some of our students, especially ones that maybe go into jobs that don't pay that much, it puts them into kind of a new type of debtor's prison. So it's really puts the limitations, and you find people who finished college several years ago still paying off, and they're on the verge of retirement. And
Sure.
so that is like not a good way to run a country.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we digress. Or I did. And we want to just move on to some of the other great accomplishments that are going on here.
So I can just let you know that right now, because September 15th or October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month, so all of our schools are doing amazing little activities to celebrate our Hispanic students and families and the community in general. So as a matter of fact, there's one going on right now. I think 5:30 it started at North Wyndham School. There was one earlier today at Natchog School. All of our schools had something that they focused on this past month to celebrate Hispanic heritage. So we're really proud of that work. Again, diversity is a strength.
It certainly is. And one of the things that we did at the Capitol is we worked on very, very hard to make sure that the school curriculums all throughout the state, whether they're requiring them or at some point will require them in the future once they're more established, take into consideration Hispanic heritage, take into consideration African American history, take into consideration all the different groups that we have here in this country, so that people understand exactly where they are and what it means and what they did to come to this country and work here. And some came willingly and others came unwillingly. So it's really important to understand how these things work.
Absolutely.
And the impact it's had on people socially and economically. So the diversity understanding is very, very, very important.
Agreed. And we're working to make sure our students have those experiences, and our staff members are prepared to make sure our students have those experiences, because it is something that's really important to us. Basically, it's building the foundations of being a good human, right?
Right.
Accepting and
where you
understanding, right.
It's one of the things that I've often said about the Wyndham Textile and History Museum,
Mm-hmm.
because we have a diverse community here in Wyndham. And part of the reason we have such diversity here has to do with the fact that we had the mills.
Sure.
And the mills brought in the French from Canada. They brought in all different groups from Italians. They brought in all different groups from all over the world, and ending up with bringing in people from the territory of the United States from Puerto Rico.
Sure.
And so that is what they did all for years and years, and it's just one of the things that makes people understand the community that they're in right here. How did this all happen? How did we get to be such a diverse place?
Right, and they all came from different places for the same
Yes.
thing, an opportunity to find a good job, to take care of themselves and their families. Everybody wants the same thing.
Yes, they do.
Right.
Everybody wants to do that work
Yep.
and pay the bills and get the place to live and
That's right.
and take care of the little ones and have a nice family and have that kind of connection with everybody. So that's a really great thing. So let's just quickly go through some of the other things with some of the schools that you've got here listed. And I just wanted to say that you've got Sweeney. You're meeting targets for English language. Is it ELA growth, English language and math growth?
Yes, Sweeney School did a wonderful job in their ELA growth and math performance. They also had an amazingly high physical fitness pass rate, and we're going to replicate that and do even better this year. Sweeney did a great job. Actually, all of our schools last year did a really good job in trying to improve their accountability index, their school performance index, which again is the state's report card for our schools in the district. And they are really working on our 6 priorities, trying to make sure that we're focused on student learning, that we're focused on developing staff capacity, that we continue to partner with the community around, in support of our students, that we're working on our classrooms in terms of the classroom environment, the learning environment, and that we're always celebrating diversity as a strength.
That's wonderful. That's very, very good. And the same goes for the Wyndham Center School. And you've got an annual talent show with family holiday celebrations, increased physical fitness pass rates, and weekly assemblies.
Yes, Wyndham Center School has a very much student-centered focus this past year and did a number of little talent shows, which was great for our kids to be celebrated that way. They also did a great job on their physical fitness scores. And they also had a Hispanic Heritage celebration, I believe it was yesterday.
Wow. Very, very good. I think that's huge fun. And then the WECC is the...
So Wyndham Early Childhood Center has been trying to incorporate some of the kindergarten experiences, pre-K appropriate, but kindergarten experiences early on so our students are better prepared when they get to kindergarten. So that's one of the things that they're working on. And they also are back to having their full family picnics and family gatherings. For a while with COVID that had stopped, so we're back to that, and we're proud of the work they're doing with our littles, as I call them.
Oh, the littles are great, and they really benefited from all those get-togethers back in the day before COVID.
Yes,
and of course the ones that didn't get a chance to do that, I don't know how they can make it up, because it's hard to make up when you're that little when you get up in first and second grade. But so I would imagine that maybe some of the work that you did by having the school availability through the summer might have been somewhat of a help for that.
And we did actually offer the expanded summer school to our incoming kindergartners, so on purpose, to try to give them a few more experiences before they started off the kindergarten year.
Mm-hmm. Very, very important. And I one of the other things that I've been very glad to see is the cooperation between the Wyndham Public Schools and the police department. And very, very pleased for the program that we have, and I've coordinated actually with your team at the high school so that they can get some college credit for working with the police.
Absolutely. We're actually really happy about our relationship with the Willimantic Police Department and the state police, but most especially the Willimantic Police Department. I think because they're local, they have been so responsive to us and so available to our students. We have a school resource officer, Officer Rosado, who we absolutely adore, and we are regularly working with them on safety and security. They've even provided some professional development to our staff members. They've just truly been partners. And they run that youth leadership in the summertime with our students. Yes, through the Pride Coalition. Yep. And it's just been really powerful to watch the community interact with our kids and our kids interact with the community.
It's such a great educational opportunity. Pride is the prevention of, drug abuse. And so that's primarily what the Pride acronym stands for. it's working to stop drug abuse and making students understand at that young age when they could be vulnerable that this could be a problem for you. So, hey, we're down to our last few minutes,
All right.
last minute actually, and I just want to thank you, Superintendent Youngberg, for being here. And just a last couple of words, if you have a.
So thank you for having me. Just this year, our theme for the district is living our story. So we're really trying hard to connect with the community, with our students, just in general, to be more authentic and more connected in response to what they need. So thank you for having me and give me an opportunity to brag about the district.
All right. Well, I love the work you're doing, and I know so many people in the district do love the work you're doing as well. Thank you so much for being on Let's Talk About It. Stay tuned for a great show next week.